Welcome to the Week 11 preview show of the Big Gun Keeper League. I'm Brad Armstrong.
This is Brian Prano. Let's get right to the Week 11 picks.
First matchup on the Big Gun Week 11 preview show is the Kamikaze Dynasty versus the T-Town Keeper. As we near the conclusion of the regular season, every win, loss, or tie becomes magnified by the fact that only 6 teams can enter the playoffs for the championship. Kamikaze Dynasty is in, for now. But we have 3 weeks to play, and we all know that anything can happen. Keeper is currently in a 4-way tie for first. Can you say menage a quatre? That sounds like a party gone wrong. I like the Dynasty to party on this weekend and at least move in the right direction. On the other hand, I'm staying away from the Keeper's party like a hot homecoming queen stays away from a band geek. The Keeper did get 13 points last night from Walls of Jericho Cotry, but Clinton Portis is not likely to play and his best replacement is Ernest Graham. Not exactly a great find. I do like Frank Gore's matchup at home against the Rams, especially after the Mike Martz meltdown in Arizona. You can bet Frank Gore will have a saddle on his back in this one. The Dynasty counters with Kurt Warner at the Seahawks. Larry Johnson is likely back, and this just in. Andre Johnson is the newest member of the Kamikaze Dynasty, as he made a trade just before the deadline. I like it, and I like the Dynasty to move to 6-5.
That's a good pickup right now. You know, picking up somebody right here the day of the deadline. I'll be honest, me playing him this week, I'm not too happy about that pickup.
I like trades, baby.
Let's move on to our next matchup. The D-Boys at 7-3 versus Juan's back. Wait, this is just in too. The D-Boys have actually scored again, okay?
Yeah, 307.
After last week's performance, there's little doubt as to the power of these boys. The only question that remains is, can they go back-to-back? With Juan's back to the wall, expect him to come out firing. Another loss could seriously jeopardize his playoff aspirations. This could be a shootout. 15 of the 20 starters are projected to put up double digits. I see the play of the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends being very even on both sides. This leaves the performance of the running backs to settle this battle. The boys' Thomas Jones has already gave his team another Thursday lead by putting up 43 big points. And the duo of Westbrook and Lewis face defenses that average 20th in the league in stopping the run. This looks great for the D-Boys until you examine Juan's running backs. While less glamorous, the duo of Slayton and White have favorable matchups. This includes the Texans meeting with the Colts, who have given up 19 rushing touchdowns this year, tied for 6th worst in the NFL. In the end, Juan is hoping the return of Tony Romo is enough to ignite his team, while the boys just hope to keep on rolling. I was ready to pick the upset, I really was, until the news that Reggie Bush is likely to sit. With Justice Fargas replacing him, I just don't see Juan prevailing. Look for the D-Boys to stay atop the league and move to 8-3.
I'll tell you this, D-Boys, though. I'm coming after you, buddy.
Oh,
coming after you.
Down the gauntlet. Even
right.
After getting beat badly last
I got hammered, but I'm coming.
Oh, interesting.
Our next matchup is the Po Boys, currently at 2-8, against Capital Punishment, 6-4. This is the battle of the haves and the have-nots. If I were Capital Punishment, I would be excited about this matchup. Heck, I'm 6-4, currently in the playoffs, and have a great chance to move to 7-4. If I were the Po Boys, however, I would be the Po Boy. In a sign of the economic times, it's not so good for the poor. However, President-elect Barack Obama is planning on redistributing the wealth in this country. Will it work? This game could be an indication of just how much wealth gets reapportioned to those less fortunate. With Phillip Rivers playing well lately, Michael Turner against the defenseless Broncos, and Santana Moss back in the lineup, the Capital Punishment look to move to the right. The Po Boys will counter with Donovan McNabb against the Bengals, Brandon Jacobs and Marion Barber. These are not terrible matchups, but the Po Boys need an economic bailout in the name of Robin Hood. But the Capital Punishment and the Sheriff of Nottingham won't allow it, and the Po Boys will get poorer and drop to 2-9.
I agree with you. I wasn't sure for a little while if this was CNN or if this was the Big Gun preview, but
we are covering all aspects of movies.
We are. The next matchup we are going to cover is the Bourbon Boys at 2-8 versus the Isle of Flow Boys at 2-8.
Awesome matchup. Awesome.
With both these teams being 2-8 and occupying the bottom 2 spots in the leagues, and not only the win and loss column, but also in total points, this is the Big Guns version of the Bengals versus the Lions. This is the type of game Gus Johnson couldn't even make exciting. I've crunched the numbers, scoured NFL.com for interesting tidbits of info, and even read player bios on their team sites. The bottom line, though, is it comes down to 3 things. 1, Does Oakland really suck like they did 2 weeks ago against the Falcons, or just kind of suck like they did last week against the Panthers? With the Bourbon Boys having both Ronnie Brown and Chad Pennington facing the Al Davises, this is important to know. Number 2, will newly acquired Lee Evans provide a spark for the Alaflo boys to win? They better hope the answer is yes as they face the Browns. And number 3, which stud's going to show up? Alaflo's Peyton Manning is playing the Texans' 14th ranked pass defense, and the Bourbon Boys are hoping newly acquired rookie sensation Matt Ryan can expose the Broncos' 28th ranked pass defense. The result, in all honesty, matters very little in the grand scheme of this league. And Alaflo really seems to struggle against every team except me. I'll take the Bourbon Boys to win this one and up their win total to 3.
I tell you what, it's a good thing that that the Alaflo boys, though, did pick up Lee Evans, because they do have a Monday nighter, and that's always key, because you can sit around and think, hey, at least I got a shot.
At least I have one other person. It's at least fun to watch.
I just love it. I love it. It's time for our waiver wire pickup section of the Big Gun Keeper League preview show. This week, my waiver wire pickup is Bo Scaife. That's right, Bo Scaife. The Titans tight end leads the team in receptions and yards receiving. Scaife had 10 receptions in his last outing against the tough Bears, who usually do very well against tight ends. Furthermore, Scaife is 5th among tight ends in receptions and 6th in yards receiving. Another great thing about Mr. Scaife is that he has an upcoming stretch against the Jags, Jets, Lions, Browns, and Texans. The best of those pass defenses is the Texans, and they're only 14th. With the playoffs coming up, Bo Scaife is hitting his stride just in time. As a matter of fact, Scaife has 42 receptions in 9 games, 22 of which have come in the last 4. Teams are going to start putting 8 in the box and making the Titans pass, and you can bet they'll be looking to Scaife.
Scaife will be the man this week, and I agree with you there. I'm going to go a little bit different direction. I'm going to go wide receiver, and the person I'm going with, I bet you he's available in every single league you're in, including the Big Gun League. I'm going with a guy by the name of Malcolm Floyd. He recently replaced Chris Chambers as the Chargers' number 3 wide receiver. Now, last week he had 4 catches for 65 yards and a TD. And with much of the focus going on LT and Antonio Gates and Vincent Jackson and Phillip Rivers, look for the 6'5 Floyd to continue his productive ways. Now, I know he faces the Steelers this week and a tough pass defense. But after that, 3 of his next 4 opponents are in the bottom half of the NFL in pass defenses. If you're looking for a super sleeper, I would check out Malcolm Floyd this week.
Championship run.
Now, welcome to the Big Gun Game of the Week. And in this Game of the Week, we have the Tuscaloosa Balls once again going back, trying to get revenge, going against the Ass-Whooping Click. Both teams are 7-3. And after winning 6 of the first 7 matchups, the Click has struggled as of late, losing 2 of the last 3. The road gets no easier as he faces the Balls in a contest that very well could determine who gets a playoff bye. The matchup that looms largest this week for the Ass-Whooping Click is Green Bay versus Chicago. He has both Ryan Grant and Aaron Rodgers going against the impenetrable Bears D. Oh, wait, this isn't 2005. And the Bears defense isn't that good. And they're only ranked 17th overall. Ass-Whoop also has arrested Jason Witten coming off a bye, a surging D'Angelo Williams, and some guy who played for Oklahoma in college. I think his name is Adrian Peterson?
Yeah, well, he's overrated too. Okay. I know he had a great game against the Pack last weekend, but you know what? One game, that's not great. Okay? Look, I counter with Drew Brees, who's a stud. Okay? I don't even care who he's playing. It doesn't even matter. Roddy White at home against Denver and their terrible pass defense. I'll also take my Eddie Royal, which will be a shootout in the Georgia Dome in my newly acquired trade. I also like Chris Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, and LT. I mean, heck, who has a better running back comp trio than that? Nobody. And then so I'll take my 5th-ranked defense in Philadelphia, and I'm picking myself to win. I called a homer, and I know you will. But me, baby.
You've got to, and I'm glad you've calmed down. No music this week. That's good for the show. But I'm gonna be very, very simple about this. It comes down to 2 words. All day. The Click goes to 8-3.
Oh, wow. Well, that does it for the Week 11 preview show. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you have any suggestions, please email us and enjoy your fantasy Sunday and Monday. Special thanks to Leander Rett.